We competed in London 2012, two Commonwealth Games, India 2010, Glasgow 2014. London was just electric during the Olympics. The support was crazy. Everyone was so hyped and friendly. Last year I worked media for Olympic Channel at the Paris Games. It was a completely different experience to competing at the games. Like we had so much access. Like seeing Simone Biles was the coolest. My mum would make me nice bento lunches. You know, people would tease me, oh, look at them now going to Japanese restaurants and ordering these same things.
Older Japanese people that I would bump into and have conversations with, they seem to not answer questions. Like my friend, I think one of the yo-yo players, they came first or something, and he was like, oh, like, how'd you go? And he was like, oh, I trained very hard.
It's almost like they've been media trained or something.
Yes.
I don't want to force these crazy hooks like, you must do this in Tokyo. Actually, you don't have to do this in Tokyo. Find the most amazing things just by accident, like wandering around with no itinerary. Have a lovely conversation with the store owner, and it's like so magical.
How's everything on your end? How's it being back in Japan?
Hi, it's good, thank you. I'm always happy to be here, so I'm feeling good. Been busy, but yeah, it's been good so far.
Yeah. I think how I first came across your content was maybe I was just scrolling through Instagram, maybe my algorithm, because I recently did a trip to Japan. So maybe my algorithm just started sending me Japan related things, and I think that's how I came across your profile. Yeah.
Wait, you said you went to Japan or you're going to Japan?
I went to Japan
Okay.
on the 18th of Jan to early Feb, so I was there for 3 weeks. So beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, oh good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, I think a lot of people find me from going to Japan or planning a Japan trip and the algorithm does its thing, you know?
Did you always travel to Japan just a ton throughout your whole life, or has it been more recently?
Um, so we used to go back once a year as a family, like growing up, which looking back is like so little time. Like we used to just go in school holidays and it would be like 3 weeks once a year. I'd be really upset every time, really excited to go and then really upset coming back. And then in the last couple of years, because I've become freelancer, I have more flexibility to come here when I like, so now I kind of come whenever I want. And I also do a lot of work here, so it's good for my content and things like that. So I come more often. Last year I was here, yeah, for a quarter of the year.
Oh, wow, that's so cool, man. And I guess what has been your main focus over the last, say, 6 months? What have you been sort of focused on?
So I'm really passionate about performing. So I love to do acting and dancing, and I would say that that is my main passion and focus. And I have been working very hard doing training and auditioning and self-taping and networking and, studying for that. And the content is kind of a side hustle because it's a flexible job that allows me to, you know, I need to be flexible at all times because if an audition comes in or if a opportunity comes in, I can't. It's much easier when you don't have like a 9 to 5 job where you have to take time off and ask your boss for if you can leave work and things like that. So that's what I've been focusing on. But the content is not like it's not a passion. It's just like I feel like it's an alter ego almost. A lot of people that follow me don't know about like the other stuff that I do and vice versa. Um, like depending on which account they follow, whether it's my personal account or my Japanstagram account. But the Japanstagram stuff, it just started from me posting holiday pictures. And I love Japan, so I'm happy to like share stuff about it. And then I started to share stuff about Japan, and I realized it was also an opportunity to like connect more with my culture and learn more about things as I post, because I would fact check things that I was posting and things like that. So I really appreciate that side of it. It's brought me to Japan more, and it's forced me to learn more about my culture, which is a good thing.
That's so cool. With the Japan's Instagram, what type of sort of work do you get from that? Do they just like, is it like promotion of Japanese products? Do they invite you to restaurants? Like, what type of work can come from the Instagram travel account?
Yeah, so when I first started, it was a few like free experiences, gifted things and things like that. But now I have been working more with, well, it can be all kinds of things actually, from tourism companies in Japan. Especially, I get contacted about promoting lesser known areas of Japan because I think that's a main, it's quite a big focus at the moment with over tourism concerns in Japan and places like Kyoto being, well, getting very oversaturated. So I've been invited to promote tours and experience what they hope to promote to future visitors in like lesser known areas. Or even like we did one in Osaka, which is not a lesser known area, but we went to a lot of places on the outskirts that probably people have never heard of before, and I hadn't heard of before either, and it was really interesting. Sometimes I get contacted by brands that are kind of, I mean, they have a base somewhere, but they're not necessarily Japanese or British. They kind of cater to a worldwide audience, whether it's working holiday companies or, eSIM and Wi-Fi companies. Those kind of essential for travel things are something that I get reached out to a lot. A little bit of like beauty and skincare, things like that as well, I mean, whenever I get reached out for a lot of things, and I'm at the point now where I do have to filter through them because, I can't say yes to everything, and I do have to make sure that I trust and would use the thing myself that I'm going to promote. Oh, also language learning. This is quite a popular one. I get reached out to a lot I get contacted by a lot of language learning platforms.
Wow, that's so cool. Like, I was so surprised. Maybe your account's like super duper niche, but with 60,000 followers, you get so much inbound requests for just like paid gigs. Do you do any outbound or is it all inbound?
Yeah, sometimes I do reach out to people, especially if I really want to work with them, and that has worked as well. Sometimes I am just so busy with just answering emails and requests from inbound, so sometimes I don't have time. But it's also got me some cool opportunities. Like last year, I worked media at the Olympics, and I think my experience from doing social media personally helped me to get that role. And so I was working for Olympic Channel at the Paris Games, and I was doing a little bit of work in production as well as social media, which was very cool. I mean, I it was completely different experience to competing at the games. Like we had so much access with our accreditation, whereas when you're an athlete at the Olympics, you only get to go to like your event. So, I could go backstage at any sport. There was so many like huge names at this Olympics, not just the athletes competing, but for some reason, I think because it's LA next time, it attracted a lot of celebrities. So there was so many famous people buzzing around, and I think also the first Olympics since COVID. So it was very exciting. It was really cool to be a part of that.
Were there any celebrities that you saw in the flesh at the Olympics?
Any celebrities I saw in the flesh? Um, yes, quite a few, but I think overall, like seeing Simone Biles was the coolest. Like she obviously was competing, but yeah, I really admire her, and she's obviously a legend. So yeah, that was very cool to see her competing, one, and also to see her in press conferences and like so up close. Yeah, very cool.
How long were you sort of doing gymnastic for, and how did you then transition to like acting and sort of dancing?
Yeah, I started gymnastics when I was 6, and I did it for about 15 years. Um, wait, have I done that maths right? Yeah. Um, so quite a long time, and then I went straight into coaching after that, although I was still dancing on the side. So I was involved with the sport for a very long time, and I think I always had like a desire to continue performing because that was my favorite thing about my sport, like performing and telling the story and yeah, performing in front of an audience. So dance was part of our training. We would always do ballet pretty much daily, and we would do a lot of training in other styles as well, different types of dance. So after I retired, I started doing more and more dance, and acting was kind of like a natural progression from that because there's a lot of similarities, a lot of crossover. The thing with acting is I can do it forever. Like if my body gives up, in dance. I can still act until I die, basically. So I'm happy that I found something that I can do forever, basically.
And like, how hard were you competing prior to like 21? Like, did you still go to high school? Did you go to university, or were you at like a sports school? Yeah, where did you compete?
I so I went to normal high school, but I would miss quite a lot of school for training camps and competitions. And when it got to training for the Olympics, we took a whole year out of school, so we just trained full time for a year before that, because we really needed that to kind of get anywhere near the other countries who are pretty much all in full time training. So that was that. And then I really wanted to finish my career before I went to university because I wanted to have like a normal life. In school, I'd always been abnormal and I wasn't upset about that. I was happy to be have a bit of a different like high school experience, but in uni I wanted to, have a social life and be able to just do normal things like go for dinners and hang out with friends and have like evenings and weekends free, which I appreciated so much once I had that.
That's so cool. And which Olympics did you go to?
Um, we competed in London 2012. Yeah. Um, So I competed there in a group, and I also did two Commonwealth Games, um, India 2010 in Delhi and Glasgow 2014.
Wow. And then did you like what was the experience like going to Olympics? Did you see yourself on TV? I saw the whole opening show where all the countries walk and they're waving. Did you experience everything? How was it?
Um, I always used to say, I mean, it's been quite a long time now, and it was a very different period of my life, so I feel a little bit detached from the experience now because being a full-time athlete is so different to my life now. But I used to always say that was the best week of my life. We were only in the village for 1 week, and it was just a crazy experience. I know a lot of the general public in London also say that like London was just electric during the Olympics. The atmosphere was really, really great, and the support was crazy. Everyone was so hyped and friendly and walking through the streets, everyone high-fiving you. It's just something that will never happen again. So I really treasure that experience a lot. We didn't go to the opening ceremony because we were still training. Our events were right at the end of the games, so we were in like a preparation training camp and went into the village halfway through the games. We went to the closing ceremony though, and that was cool. And we did get on TV.
Nice. Do you have any siblings, or are you the only child?
Yeah, I have a brother and he lives in Japan. He lives in Tokyo, and he also is doing his own business. He's a jiu-jitsu athlete and he's also a coach in that. So he's probably more inspiring than me at the moment because now he's the one who's like, I mean, I'm super focused on my things as well, and we're both, determined and working hard in our own ways, but he is really pushing hard on, yeah, he competes and trains himself, but he's really passionate about coaching and helping others to get better in the sport. So at the moment, he's doing a lot of posts on social media, just little quick reels about tips on how to, do better. I don't know anything about jiu-jitsu. I support him, but yeah, better to watch his reels about what he does. But he posts like every day, very useful tips. I mean, a lot of people comment like, "Oh, this is really useful, thanks." So I'm sure that I'm they sound really good and professional. I'm not making him sound good. No, he's really cool.
What's his handle in case our listeners want to check him
Oh, what's
out?
his handle? It's Craig. Let me double check. Craig CD. I'm gonna double check just in case. Craig CDBJJ.
We'll pop it up on the screen. Is he older
Amazing.
or younger than you?
He's younger than me. Yeah.
And did you guys grow up together in UK?
Yeah, we did. He actually used to do gymnastics as well. So both of our like foundations of like sport come from gymnastics, and then he went in. He's very tall, so that's kind of hard for artistic gymnastics. Because I did rhythmic gymnastics, he did artistic. Artistic gymnasts tend to be shorter, so it was quite hard for him to compete as he got taller. Then he went into coaching, and I think he was quite a young coach, and that probably helped him to become a good coach in what he does now.
Interesting. And I guess, do you visit him every time you go to Japan?
Yes, I do. It's really fun hanging out with him here, and he's been living here for 5 years now, which has gone really fast. But it's always great to see him over here and yeah, see his what his life has become since moving. I mean, he loves it over here, and he has like it was 100% the right decision for him to move over here, and it's really just nice to see that someone's like happy and made a good decision in life.
That's so cool. And I'm assuming your parents are half British, half Japanese?
Yeah, my mom is Japanese and my dad is Scottish, British. Yeah.
And then I guess, what do you think made your brother wanna move to Japan full time, and then you still want to stay in UK full time? Yeah,
Um, well, I actually don't want to stay in the UK, but it's like I wish I could live in Japan, and I'm figuring out how I've told myself I'll live in Japan before I die, so I need to work on that at some point. I have a husband and a dog in the UK, which is kind of, and he has a job, and that it's kind of holding me back at the moment. But we do discuss it, and someday we hope that we will live in Japan, even if it's not forever, just live in Japan at some point for some period of time before I die. It's on the bucket list. Um, my brother moved to Japan. I think for his sport, it's much better over here, and he also just prefers it. I mean, same as me. I prefer it too, but I'm still in the UK. Um, so yeah, he's following his heart and I am not.
it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. You're gonna get there eventually. Have you traveled throughout the whole of Japan, and would you have a place or city that you'd wanna live at when you could in the future?
Mm. So I've traveled quite a lot in Japan, actually more than like my family who live here. They pretty much stick to where they know and where they live. But there are some like big popular areas I've never been to. Like I've never been to Hokkaido, which is I'd love to go. I'm a bit weak with the cold, so I'd like to go there in summer. And I've never been to Okinawa, which is so popular, and I really want to go there as well. So those places are on my bucket list. And for where I would want to live, I am a Tokyo girl, so I would have to say Tokyo. It's like home for me, and it's where all my family and memories are. So I think I would have to say I would live in Tokyo, but I would take breaks and travel to other parts for like vacation, but not to live.
Interesting. Whereabouts in Tokyo would you want to live? Because traveling around Tokyo, there's not much sort of residential area vibes. Well, I guess I remember going out to the what's that warehouse where inside there's all these light shows and all these beautiful lights.
Oh, the team lab.
Team labs, yeah. And then I remember going to there. It looked quite residential around that area, maybe. Um,
Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of. I think what I like about Tokyo is that you can be on a main street and then you turn off and go into the back streets, and it's so quiet, and it doesn't feel like, the crazy Tokyo that you see on TV, like Shibuya Crossing and Shinjuku at night and things like that. Honestly, what I love about Japan is they make life easy for you. Like transport is easy, everything is quite accessible, and these newer apartments, everything is so logically built. It just makes your life easy, even though everything is smaller. They make the most of the space in the apartments. Like you can store your things easily. The storage is good. Things just work well. Things are easy to clean. Like that really frustrates me about like my flat in the UK is so much bigger than what we have over here, but I have no storage space. Like it's so frustrating. So yeah, I'd happily live in a small logical apartment. That's a dream for me actually.
Interesting. What about Japan? Do you like the most? Let's say over UK, or like what's Japan really good at? I guess we know it's very good at logically organizing things, making things easier, like public transport. Any other things that really draw you to Japan?
Yeah, something. I mean, there's something how I feel here. I do find being half, like when I'm here, I can't imagine being in the UK and vice versa. It feels like, I mean, it is literally on the other side of the world, but I feel very distant from that person who lives in the UK and vice versa. And my personality kind of shifts when I'm in the opposite country. And so I do feel like I'm a different person, and I do like the person that I am in Tokyo. So I think just that switch of when I land and I have a mental shift and I start behaving slightly differently, I think makes me feel happier and I behave in a nicer way that I prefer in myself. It's quite weird and hard to explain, but it's so hard to imagine myself. It's so hard to remember that life exists on the other side of the world when you're over here, and the time difference as well. It's so crazy. But that was a bit of a long-winded answer. The question was, what do I like about Japan? I think I like how much care people take with things. People are like take care when they, prepare things, make your food. It's customer service at stores. Things run well, things run on time. I mean, I do go on about good things about Japan a lot on my social media and things, but I know that I do have a different view because I haven't escaped from it. I can get out and go to the UK. I don't work in a Japanese company. I don't have that many fully Japanese friends. I have half Japanese friends or friends who are Japanese but have lived in other countries. And I think that is a very different experience to have compared to living in Japan, growing up in Japan, and going to Japanese school, Japanese university, and then working in a Japanese company. That's very different. So I know that there can be a lot of negative things around that. And there are negative things about Japan. There's negative things about every country as well, but I definitely like a lot of things about it.
How do you think the sort of vibe is trending over the next, say, 5 to 10 years? Do you feel like Japan is like on an upward trend, a downward trend? Or what's sort of like the vibe like? I guess like financially, I've seen videos about how Japan is like going through like a financial economic crisis. I don't know how true that is. I know they're going through a population sort of crisis, but it doesn't seem like that's gonna like affect things. When I was in Japan, it was quite lively despite sort of people not having kids. Yeah, I guess what does Japan look like over the next 10 years?
I mean, Japan has been struggling with the yen being weak. So for people who are earning in like dollars and pounds, when they transfer their money into yen and come over for a holiday to Japan, everything is like on sale for them. It's crazy how cheap it is for those people. But then if you think about like someone who's living in Japan and earning in yen who wants to go on vacation to London, say, their money is not going to go a long way at all. It's going to be super expensive for them. So that's pretty tough. I think Japan is on an upwards trend though. Still, I think it's getting more and more popular. It's crazy to see when I'm back in London how many things remind me of Japan. I see people, carrying merch of different animes. They're listening to the music, they're watching the films, they're going to Japanese cafes, Japanese restaurants are popping up everywhere. Like it's so popular now, and it never used to be like that. Actually, when I was in school, it was kind of lame and nerdy. And I'm really happy about that, that it's popular now. But it's crazy how, yeah, like I hear this story a lot from people who are half Japanese or Japanese growing up in another country, but like, my mum would make me nice bento lunches to take to school, and people would tease me or say mean things or say it would look disgusting and things like that. Look at them now going to Japanese restaurants and ordering these same things. So, I think it's a really good thing, and I hope that little Asian kids in school are being treated very nicely now. Um, and I'm sure they are. I'm sure people want to hang out with them and see like what cool things they bring back from Japan and stuff.
That's so funny. Yeah, I can highly relate with that. Now that you're sort of in Japan, what's your itinerary like? Is it just back to back traveling, going to a bunch of, accommodate? Is everything covered? Are you just doing a bunch of sponsored gigs, sponsored work? How tight is your itinerary and how long are you in Japan for?
So this time I wanted to chill a little bit more. The last trip I did, I traveled a lot and I was so tired and I actually got quite sick. I got a really bad case of the flu. I am doing more like uh I wanted to stay here this time as if I was living here a little bit more. So, doing my work from home stuff. I'm doing a lot of training, a lot of dance classes, acting classes, and I've got some meetings with people in the industry and things like that. I have a few, PR gigs and things like that that I need to go to and take content and then editing, a lot of editing, which I can just do from home or like I want to go to cafes and just edit there and then come home and spend a lot of time with my family. That's really important as well. I stay with my family when I stay here. So anytime that I can be at home with them, I'm very happy. And I have no plans to really leave Tokyo apart from we went on a family trip because our whole family was here for the first time in like over a decade. So we went on a 2-night trip. So we'd done that already. So the traveling's done. And now I'm just gonna stay in Tokyo and I say chill, but I need to work. I'm gonna be working. Yeah, that's the plan.
How do you go about doing acting classes in Japan and dancing classes? Do you just find a local dance teacher,
Yeah.
acting teacher?
The dance classes are great here. There's a lot of really good studios, and they have tons of classes with tons of different teachers in loads of different styles. So I love to do that. That's pretty easy. The acting is more new for me to find classes here. And yeah, I just found them online and also through recommendations from people that I know. But I haven't taken acting classes before over here, so that'll be new for me. But I'm gonna take them in English. I'm not gonna do them in Japanese yet, but I hope someday I can also do them in Japanese. I'm a bit nervous about that right now.
How's your Japanese? Do you speak Japanese to your mum? Did you grow up speaking Japanese at home, or did you lose it as you grew up and went through high school?
I do speak Japanese. I speak it mostly with my family, so that's why my level of Japanese is very colloquial, and I don't have a great level of business Japanese because it's just vocabulary that doesn't come up when you chat to your family. So I do struggle in more formal situations with it. And reading and writing is also a big struggle because the kanji, you learn it as you go to school, and I didn't go to school. So my mum actually tried to teach me she ordered like all of the school books, and I had them in the UK, but it's so hard to go to British school, come home, and then like essentially go to Japanese school at home. And we had many tantrums and fallouts over it, and in the end, I couldn't keep it up. And when the gymnastics training ramped up as well, it was really hard. So I can only read like very basic up to like, primary school level of Japanese, not even primary school probably.
Does that mean you can easily read all the signs in the train stations, street signs, store signs, labels?
I can read this train stations because it's in English as well. Um, there's like three types of writing in Japanese. You've got the hiragana, the katakana, which is like the alphabet, and then kanji is like the picture, the symbols. I don't know how you would call them, but I can read all of the alphabet like letters, and some symbols, probably to about like year one, year two. So they're very basic. So it's a lot of guessing and a lot of Google Lens when it's in like complex kanji.
As like a foreigner, but then you're like a Japanese foreigner, do you think you get a different experience to like non-Japanese foreigners? Do you feel more out of place or less out of place because you're Japanese?
Yeah, that's a weird one. I feel like a foreigner here because I get treated like one. And it's Japanese people can't see any Asian in me, or even if they do, they don't see Japanese in me. No one ever assumes I'm half, they think I'm fully foreign gaijin. Whereas if I'm in the UK, people definitely notice that Asian look in me. In Japan, I'm pretty tall, so I stand out straight away compared to other people, and my hair color is brown, which I know you can dye your hair, but I think this color, like Japanese people always touch my hair and say, "How do you get this color?" So I think it's kind of like you can't dye it exactly this color. I don't know. So that's the two things that I think give me away. Give me away. I don't know. But it is strange because I get treated like a foreigner, and I feel like I wouldn't say I feel completely like a foreigner, but I would say if my Japanese was super perfect and I could clap back if someone treats me like a foreigner, I would be more confident and feel more Japanese. But because my Japanese is not perfect, I think that drops my confidence. But I know I have every right to feel Japanese because I literally am. So yeah, that's one has been confusing for me, especially in the last few years because I've spent more time here and I've been able to spend more time with people who have had similar upbringing to me. And that's been really, really nice. I made a lot of friends through doing Japanstagram, and a lot of people who I've met through that have are similar like me, have grown up half in Japan, half somewhere else, have half they're half or have parents from Japan and somewhere else. So that's been really, really nice, and I've found them really easy to get onto because our lives are just so relatable.
Yeah, I think I found it like when I was younger, I've been to like places like Vietnam, Thailand, so the Southeast Asian countries, and the experience there as a foreigner, everyone's so like nice to you, like they're like this person is like from Australia, blah blah. It's like wow, this guy is not local. But then when I went to like countries like Korea or Japan, they don't care at all. Like they don't like it's not cool to be like a foreigner at all. Like even going to countries like Mongolia, people were like, "Whoa, like what the hell? You're not Mongolian. That's so cool." And they not treat you nicer, but there's a bit of a wow factor. But yeah, I was like, I just noticed that in Korea and Japan, they just did not care.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I know what you mean. And I think it's you get one or the other. Either they don't care or they really care. Maybe more in the countryside because they don't get foreign visitors as much. So, for example, when we were on our family trip and we went to some smaller restaurants, places where you don't see any foreigners, only locals, and they're so happy to accommodate you. And if you say like their food was delicious, which it genuinely was, like some of the food we had was like so good, some of the best I've ever had, they are like so happy and it's really nice and they're really happy and they are like taking photos for us and things like that. So I think it really depends. Some people are really interested, especially because a lot of people in Japan they don't really leave Japan, they don't travel that much. So some people are really curious and want to chat to kind of get that foreign experience and get that experience of what it's like outside of Japan without leaving Japan. But some people are not scared, maybe a little intimidated. Maybe they're intimidated if they can't speak any English. They don't want to like converse because they know that they won't be able to, or they're very nervous that they won't be able to. Yeah, it's really like I think it's one end or the other. Like we had so many random conversations with people when we were traveling last year as well, with just random strangers in the street talking to us because we looked like foreign. And I was with a friend who doesn't speak Japanese, so they start trying to speak English and tell us about random things, and yeah, I think it depends where you are. Maybe in Tokyo, everyone is very busy and wants to keep to themselves, which I get that.
Japan seems to have like a lot of sort of people on extreme different side of the spectrum. Like I was so surprised that like Japan has like people are either like really shy, timid, homebodies, just watch anime all day, sort of these sort of weeb energy, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word. But then there's also the other extreme where they're just like loud, they're funny, they're quirky, they're fashionable. People just like singing and rapping on the streets. And it's like, yeah, and then there's not really an in between.
Yes. I think in Japanese culture is they're quite like conscious of what other people think and also not to be a nuisance to those around you. I definitely feel that in my personality, and probably I think it too much to the point where I overthink things and I just need to live my life. But I think it also differs depending on the cities that you go to. And Tokyo is quite, of course, I'm generalizing massively, but Tokyo is quite a serious um, place. Everyone is quite serious. Whereas, like in Osaka or something, people are way more chill and friendly. And sometimes people say, being in Osaka feels like you're abroad because people are more relaxed and people dress differently. People wear what they want. People wear different makeup. People dress differently. People are louder. Yeah, it's interesting. But I do think also young people are breaking the mold gradually in Japan. I think Japan is just ahead of its time in terms of, technology and things like that. People think of Japan as very futuristic, but in other areas they're also very behind. Because I guess every country used to be like that, right? It would be very rude for a woman to speak loud or something, like those old-fashioned things that we no longer stick to in like Western culture, whereas maybe Japan is still there a little bit. Or these are the kind of things that maybe people have been taught that's how they've been raised by parents or grandparents, and it will take a few generations to kind of break out of that and to have more freedom. But this is I'm generalizing. I mean, people are, not everyone in Tokyo is serious and like that.
Yeah, like I think another thing that really surprised me was Japanese seem to have that keep to themselves, sort of be respectful, quiet, not shy or timid, but like that sort of like type of energy. But then there's also the other extreme where there's like all the nightlife and I haven't been into them, but all the like hostess bars where there's anime girls. I don't know how that works, and them having to implement like female only carriages and hearing about how like guys could be quite intrusive. Like apparently it's a thing where it's not a thing, but there's stories of guys that just like go up and just ask random girls for their numbers very directly, type of vibe. So it was like I was like confused, but then on the other end, Japanese seem to be very shy, timid, keep to themselves, quiet. Yeah.
I think there's definitely an issue in Japan of not being able to be open and express yourself, keep your feelings and emotions to yourself, not talk. Yeah, I mean, this has been a big thing in the last few years in the rest of the world, right? Like talking about mental health and um, sharing your struggles with others or trying to find someone to speak to. Whereas in Japan, I think people tend to still be quite close with that. And I do find it difficult to make friends who are fully Japanese because often the conversation is very surface level and it doesn't get super deep. I mean, also my language is not as good in Japanese as it is in English, so that affects it as well. But it doesn't go so deep even even in just social and settings and with friends. So I think that can be hard and can be difficult. And yeah, I hope that um people start to speak more openly, especially if it helps with things like loneliness, mental health, and things like that. But I do also think it's not a sad thing when people do things alone. Like in the UK, sometimes if you see someone eating alone, people be like, "Oh my God, that's so sad." But like in Japan, it's very normal to eat alone. I mean, everyone's got to eat, right? And sometimes you just need to get it done. You might be really busy or you've had a long day at work and you just want to eat and get home. And rather than worrying about, oh, who am I going to sit with for dinner and whatever, you just go in, you eat the food and you get out. It's not about having like a nice experience in the restaurant or whatever. It's just you go there to feed yourself and then you leave. And I think that's sometimes very efficient and needed.
Yeah. And another thing I found was like, I think a lot of older Japanese people that I would bump into and have conversations with, they seem to not answer questions. Like, I'll say something like, oh, wow, so you've been doing photography, like traveling the world doing photography. And he'll reply, yes, I love doing photography. And like, he's not really answering the question I asked. Or there was this lady who I was like saying the exact same thing about the extreme spectrum and how I was like surprised by that. And her response was something like along the lines of like talking about kids not being focused in school. I'm like, it has nothing to do with what I just asked.
Okay. Um, I'm not sure about that one. I mean, my grandparents chat random stuff all the time and they don't answer the question. I don't think it's intentional. I think it's just old people brain, but that's just them. And they're funny and crazy and they say silly things. But I'm not sure about other old people. I mean, yeah, I
Or
chat.
like middle age. It was like sort of like people in their 50s.
Oh, middle-aged? I'm not sure. I can't say I know exactly, like I can't relate exactly to what you've said, so I don't really know what to say. But that's interesting. Are you having those conversations in English?
Yes, maybe that's why. Having the conversation in English. Another example, like my friend, he went to Japan and he went there for like a yo-yo competition, and he'll be like, I think one of the yo-yo players, they came first or something, and he was like, oh, like how'd you go? Like how'd you go in the competition? And he was like, oh, I trained very hard. I trained very hard. That was his answer. It's like a very um, and I think me and Brendan, we related on the whole like Japanese not answering what we asked type of thing, but it's very subtle. It's like they're answering it, but in their own way, I guess.
Yeah, it's almost like they've been media trained.
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. It feels like that, where like you've seen interviews with like celebrities and they'll answer the question and you can tell the interviewer assumed they did, but if you're watching it from a third party, you're like, he did not answer your question at all.
Yeah, that is interesting. I will listen out for this happening now. And I'll let you know. It hasn't been something that's like stood out to me, but I'll keep an eye out for this. I'll keep it in mind.
Hmm. When in Japan, I guess, are your grandparents still there? What family do you still have in Japan? And do you, I guess, stay with them?
Yeah, at the moment I still have my grandparents, which is really nice. They are getting older, so we have to take care of them and we don't do much together, but it's just nice to be in their presence. I stay in their house, yeah, and I also have everyone on my mum's side of the family, so aunts and uncles and cousins. I spend most of my time with my grandparents, and then my brother, of course.
Hmm. In Japan, do people often cook? Like, I remember going to a grocery store and I was like, man, like vegetables and just raw ingredients quite expensive. It's like nearly just as much as just eating out. Maybe eating out is like 10% more expensive, but back in Australia, like cooking at home, you'd probably at least save half the price. Yeah.
Yeah, same in the UK. This is a big thing at the moment, and it's in the news because the price of produce is going up a lot, which is becoming like it's making the news. But yeah, eating out is really affordable in Japan, and you can, like many people eat out once a day. Many people also have tiny kitchens and it's just easier to eat out. I think there's so many places that make it very easy to eat out, and yeah, there's quite a lot of variation in price with the supermarkets. Like if you go to the convenience store, it's really convenient, but it's a lot more expensive. And there's bigger supermarkets, but just less convenient that the prices are less. But it is a genuine issue right now that the prices are going up, and it's making the news.
Mm. As a local, like, do your grandparents like go on a grocery run once a week, and then every day they'll cook, and then they'll maybe have a similar breakfast each day, and I guess the rice cooker is always on. Yeah, what does it look like eating as a local?
Yeah, I mean my grandmother, she loves to shop. She loves to buy stuff every morning. And I think I mean it's not a great thing because she overbuys, but it means that she gets out every day, which is really good. Because they are like 80 plus. So, the little things are important. But yeah, they cook and it's like nice miso soups and vegetables and sometimes it's meat. There's fresh rice. Yeah, it's really nice to be here and it's really easy to be healthy. I feel a lot more satisfied with whatever I'm eating, and I don't feel the need to eat like chocolate and things, which I always want to eat in the UK. Like in the UK, all I want to eat is chocolate. And I don't know like if there's something missing in my diet or I'm not sure, but in the UK, I just cannot stop eating chocolate. In Japan, I can go for weeks and I don't even need any chocolate. Like I don't know how I can transfer that back to the UK, but yeah.
Yeah. If you were like, when I was in Japan, like I found it hard to like if I was in an Airbnb and there was like a small kitchen, like I still found it hard to like figure out what to buy to cook. Like I just always defaulted to just like buying instant noodles. It was just like the easiest option. I was like, how can I like not eat instant noodles and do something healthy? But it's just like hard, I guess. Like, what's an easy go-to sort of home cooked meal in Japan?
I love these like in Japan it's normally so if in the UK if you're having dinner it's like right it's a plate of something spaghetti bolognese or a shepherd's pie or lasagna or something like this, but Japan is more like a variety of things and small dishes, so you might have like rice, miso soup, some fish, grilled fish, some vegetables, pickles, maybe do you know natto? It's like fermented soybeans. When you mix it, it goes all like stringy, and it's like something that people often don't like when they try it for the first time, but I really like it. It kind of smells as well, so maybe some natto. And this is like my favorite. Like for example, a salmon breakfast set will come like that with salmon rice, soup, maybe natto, maybe some tofu. Oh, it's perfect for me. The perfect way to start the day, and it's really healthy and it's delicious. And yes, I would happily have that every morning for breakfast. I don't, but yeah.
Nice. And I'm assuming there's just a jar for each and every one of those things, and you take out all the jars and you get a bit of everything and put it onto like a plate of some sort.
Um, I mean, I guess because there's m multiple people in our family, like if we make miso soup, it's like a big pot of it, and then everyone like serves themselves a bowl. The same with rice. Like the fish is individual and that will be cooked fresh on the day. Sometimes you'll have like yeah, like pickles stored in the fridge. We do buy our natto, like the fermented soybean, just like from the shop. So you open a packet. And often, like if we're having like stir-fried veg or some kind of vegetable dish, it will just be a big bowl in the middle, and everyone will take some.
Do you get your hair cut in Japan
Yeah.
or UK? Do you wait a whole year for that Japan trip to get your hair cut just in Japan?
So my hair is actually quite short at the moment, and I will get it cut before I leave. I used to only cut it in the UK, in Japan, but last year in summer I got really bored and I was like, I need to shake up my style, so I got it cut in the UK, and it was actually a really good experience. And I was like, why did I not do this? Like, why have I not done this for like over a decade? Anyway. I may do both now because to maintain shorter hair, I'll need more regular cuts. But I do like the experience in Japan. I trust them. I like the how they do it here. It's also often cheaper as well. So yeah, but actually the experience I had in the UK last summer was very good and the lady was really nice who'd cut my hair and she did a great job.
That's so cool. Are you going to Japan the same time every year or is it random? Is it depending on if you have work? Does work fly you out to Japan?
Um, Not yet. I mean, I want to come as often as possible to see my family, but also, I mean, I have to balance it because if I'm going all the time, I can't really lay down any work in the UK. I also tend to avoid summers in Japan just because they're really hot and unbearable. And it feels like a bit of a waste to not be in the UK for summer because it's like actually nice sometimes when the weather does its thing over there. So I tend to really enjoy Japan in autumn and spring. But the winter is okay as well. Like, I mean, winter, December is really nice. Yeah. Sorry, what the question was, yeah, how often? I can't remember the question.
And it was just like a question, general question about like how often do you go to Japan and is it the same time each year and does
Oh, also, whenever the flights are cheap. Yeah. If I find cheap flights, I'll be like, oh, let's go.
Is it dangerous living in UK? Like at the moment, I don't know. I'm seeing the news from afar, like hearing stories about you just can't walk around with a nice watch, stabbings, or is it just it's living there is actually okay and the news is exaggerating things?
I think you have to be aware and be switched on when you're in any country like London or any big city like London, Paris, Barcelona. Like there's phone snatches is a huge thing at the moment. So, I mean, for as long as I can remember, if I'm in London, I'm gripping my phone with two hands if I have to get it out. And I'm always like holding it. If it's in my pocket, I'm holding it. You know, you have to be careful with stuff like that. Always just be alert and aware. I would say to that's some another thing that I forgot to say earlier that I love about Tokyo. It's pretty safe and it's kind of okay to walk alone at night as a woman. It's probably one of the few places in the world that you can do that. If I'm walking alone, if I have to walk alone at night in the dark in the UK, I walk very fast and on a mission. I mean, yeah, you have to be careful and have to be switched on at all times. But I do believe that that's the same. Like, for example, when I was in Paris last summer for the Olympics, I behaved in the same way, just very switched on and alert. And you need to look like you know where you're going and just go there.
Is there a country where you'd want to raise kids in?
Oh, I don't know. Um, I guess there's pros and cons to UK and Japan. I don't know. My parents wanted me to go to primary school in Japan and then secondary school in the UK, but I ended up doing both in the UK, and that was fine for me. But I do think that I would have struggled culturally if I had moved to the UK for like going into high school. I think that would have been quite difficult, but I don't know because I never did it. But yeah.
Did you do primary and high school in Japan, you're saying, or UK?
Oh no, in the UK. So I went to like nursery in Japan
Mm.
and then I did all my school in the UK. My brother actually did 6 months, or he did half a year in Japan when he was in primary school, which he enjoyed. But yeah, I never did that. I went like one day to primary school in Japan because my mum was like, "Okay, you have to go to school when we come here." And I like cried because I couldn't. I was struggling and I was crying. I don't like it. I don't want to go. So my mum had a deal with me, and it was like you either go to school or to gymnastics. So every time I would come here, I would go training. And anyway, I needed to train because I couldn't have 3 weeks off training. So whenever I would come back to Japan, I would go train.
Got it. I see. What's the cons of raising a kid in Japan, you reckon?
Oh, that's a big question. I think maybe like a lack of individuality and I don't want to say freedom, but like maybe one thing that was said to me when I was coaching gymnastics and we had one of my coaches from Japan was working with us in the UK. She would say how the kids in the UK would much more freely tell her how they feel and just answer back, not in a rude way, but have conversation with the coach. Whereas in Japan, it's very much, of course, you have the hierarchy, so you have to treat elders with respect, and you wouldn't really speak to your teacher in a friendly way. But she said that sometimes it's hard to know how her athletes in Japan feel because they don't talk in that way. Whereas you always you know a lot more how the British girls are feeling because they will tell you, even if you don't ask sometimes. I mean, that depends on the character, but that is definitely a difference. I think that can be classed as a negative. I appreciate the respect and things, but I think, of course, every teacher wants to know how their students are feeling. I think that's really important and it makes you a better teacher. So if they can find a way to better that communication, I think that would be a good thing.
Makes sense. How did you, when did you go from like posting on Instagram just like for fun to it becoming like a side gig and you taking it seriously? Yeah, what was that process of growing your Instagram account?
I think it was accidental, and I mean now I put more effort into it and I do it properly because it's my job. But when it first started, it was I didn't think I could do it. It was when Reels started. So 20, like at the beginning of 2023, end of 2022, I think I started posting a few Reels. And I think that is when Reels came about on Instagram. That made a big difference. Yeah.
Interesting. And were you already structuring stories, or was it just like just pretty raw videos mashed together montages?
Yeah, they were. Well, I mean, my first few videos also didn't really show my face, and I didn't show my voice either. I did the thing where you like write the text and then it says it in that computerized voice. I was like, "What to do in Tokyo?" like that. Yeah, that's how I started, and I was using like really old content as well because I wasn't in Japan at the time. I was posting from the UK. And then I had an audience before, yeah, it was like end of 2022, beginning of 2023. I had a little audience. So by the time I went to Japan in like 2023 around April, I was like, right, let's get that content. And then I started doing it properly.
Oh. And so I guess you intentionally like created a new Instagram, created top 10 things to do in Tokyo. What was the main catalyst, or what made you want to create this new thing on the side from scratch?
Um, well, I've had that account for since before COVID, and I just had it to post pictures because I don't think Reels existed then, so I was just posting pictures of when I was in Japan. And my friends love to see like what I was doing in Japan and things, and I would always take more photos when I was in Japan, and I would wear like nicer outfits. Like when I'm in the UK, I'm literally dressed to walk the dog like every day. So there's nothing to capture there. There's nothing to show on Instagram, you know. But here I'm like, I'm gonna do my hair, I'm gonna do my makeup, I'm gonna wear a nice outfit and take pictures. So there's more content to be posted. So that was how it started. And I never made like a decision to make it like my job. But when I saw that it was possible, so I guess I did make a decision once I saw it could be possible. But it was already happening when I made that decision, rather than like I have like a very small amount of followers and like, oh, let's try to make it my job. Yeah. Does that make sense?
That totally makes sense. At what follower count do you start getting inbound requests for paid gigs or free stuff? When did it was like, oh wow, this is turning into something?
I'm not sure what follower count, but from doing research, I do know that you can do stuff from as little as just 1,000 followers, I would say. And I think 10,000 is pretty solid because it's not about how many followers you have, it's about how engaged they are. So if you have a small following that really cares about you and cares about what you post, I think that's way more important than having loads of followers. Because, I mean, people buy followers, right? And you can get bot followers and all of this. I don't know. So it can be easy to focus on the follower numbers, but also you have to remember, like, Instagram, they are changing their algorithms all the time. So you can be putting so much effort in to do a certain type of content and make it work and make it reach people, but Instagram can suddenly be like, oh, we want to try something else. And your content starts flopping. And it's so important not to take that to heart because it's literally just a bunch of like codes and computers deciding where your content goes. Of course, there's levels of quality and content, but yeah, it can be really easy to get caught up in the numbers. And it's really nice when you receive like personal DMs or comments from people who have genuinely used your stuff to enjoy Japan or have had a laugh out of your videos or say, oh, I just enjoy watching your videos. Like, I miss Japan and it's really nice to watch them. So I really like having those personal interactions with people more than just like, oh, wow, I got a million views. Like, it doesn't really mean anything. Like, my most viewed videos are the most dumb videos ever. So, like,
What's your posting schedule like? And are you like really thinking about the 3 second hook? Do you have like a hook list? Yeah, tell us about like how or what it looks like behind the scenes.
um, I don't like to think about it too much. I have changed my content style recently, to be honest. Because before it was very much about, oh, what you should do in Japan. Like, this is what you should do. Oh, you'll never guess this place in Japan, what you can do there. Like, These hooks, they give me the ick a little bit, honestly. It's just so forced, and I mean, surely people can see right through it. I don't know, maybe because I'm seeing that on my feed a lot because that's like the niche that I'm in, it becomes like icky to me. But I think recently I found that there's so much Japan content online. It's like so overwhelming. And people come to Japan with these crazy itineraries that are so jam-packed and exhausting that you have no time to just like stop and take it in. And I get that for a lot of people, a Japan trip is once in a lifetime, so you do want to get things right and plan really carefully. And I'm really lucky that I can come a lot more often. But I'm trying to lean towards that more, stop and chill and enjoy Japan a bit more. And I kind of want to be that now for my followers. And I'll still post tips and things like that, but a little bit more just showing me and my personality, and Japan is more important because I don't want to force these like crazy hooks like you must do this in Tokyo. Actually, you don't have to do this in Tokyo, you know? You don't have to do that. You will be just fine if you don't do this thing in Tokyo and you will still have a lovely time. And it's impossible to do everything in Japan. So like just and sometimes you find the most amazing things just by accident, like wandering around with no itinerary and you stumble into a random store and have a lovely conversation with the store owner, and it's like so magical. So I think having too much of a rigid itinerary can lead to missing out on those nice experiences. So my Japanstagram is taking a little bit of a chill route now, and I'm trying to make it more authentic and more genuinely me and not forcing these hooks and things like that. But I try to post every day. I try to let the people see my face every day. Just so they don't forget me, can't forget about me. If Instagram brings me up on their feeds, that is, if Instagram shows my content to them, then yeah, they won't forget about me, hopefully.
That's so cool. How do you go about like building like an engaged community? I feel like that's something that a lot of people struggle with, and then you see a bunch of small niche creators have just so much engagement despite having small amount of views, small amount of followers, but they're highly engaged, their audience.
I think like stories is really good for that. People love to reply to stories, more than like I think comments are so public. Sometimes people don't like to put them, which is fair enough because some people don't think at all before commenting and write mean things. So I understand when people don't want to comment and leave their thoughts out in the open for everyone to see. But story replies is something that I get a lot of, and sometimes I can't reply to all of them, but I do try my best to reply. And I think people enjoy watching my stories. Also, my stories are not very edited or curated. It's just kind of like, I like this, boom, post. I don't think about it that much. So it's a lot more raw and it's a lot more just whatever. And I guess people like it. My views have been definitely, well, when my reels were down a bit, my stories were up. So I just like, I'm gonna post more stories and engage with my audience and chat with them. I think that's a really good way to, yeah, I get the most, I don't know if I can say I get the most engagement there, but it's definitely somewhere that people feel they can speak to you. And quite often I do get the message like, "Oh, I'm sure you're never going to reply to this, but I just wanted to say," kind of like this. So they're kind of a bit nervous to message, but it's nice. I genuinely enjoy receiving nice messages because we do work really hard as creators. Like we spend so much time staring at our computers and editing, and it actually does take a really long time. So when people say they enjoy our content, it really means a lot. And I hope I make that known when I reply to them. Like I'm genuinely really thankful for their messages.
With stories, are you reposting your reels, reposting your posts, or is it an actual just like a video of where you are at live? How do you use stories?
Um, just like I don't post live because when I'm out and about, I don't like to be on my phone doing it. And also just it's for safety. Uh, just in case anyone wants to try and find me. Like, no, I don't, I've heard bad stories, of like stalkers and things, so we have to be careful out there. But I rarely like edit a video for a story. I just post like whatever. So the when I get home or the day after, I look through what I've got and just in order. Oh, I like that, share. put some text. And something that I believe is useful is to put some kind of button, poll, question, slidey thing to help with engagement on stories. I do believe that helps with views, but sometimes I'm like, oh, whatever, I'm just going to post what I like and don't think about that too much. Yeah, I put some text. Sometimes I put music for, I do like putting music, and sometimes I think about that for too long because I think it is important to have for the music of a post or a story to match the mood of how you felt that day or of the picture of something that you've been listening to recently. I think music says a lot about someone's personality. So, I mean, probably nobody cares what song I put, but I care. So,
I love that. With stories, what's like the average view? Like, how many people usually view a story? Yeah, I'm just curious. Yeah,
a few thousand, 5,000.
that's a lot.
But it can vary. It can be from like no, to I would say like high 1,000s to max like 5,000. But I haven't been looking recently, so I should probably check that. But yeah, it used to be so much lower. And yeah, my followers have grown, but since I do it more, I was a lot more focused on reels before, and I do still post reels, but I like my stories recently. So I do try to post regularly on stories, and yeah, it did increase my views as I started to post more.
Out of all the freelancing things that you're doing, how would you rank what takes up most of your time?
I feel like it goes like this because it depends what I'm doing. Like if I'm booked for a shoot, and it's taking multiple days, that will take up a lot of my time because I'll be on set from I need to leave early in the morning and I get home late at night and I won't have time to edit. And then on a day off from that, I might be in front of my computer all day editing content. So it really depends, I would say.
Do you backlog content and edits? Like, what if like you have a shoot that's a few days? Does that mean prior you would have spent 1 or 2 days pumping out 3 videos for the next 3 days?
When I'm organized, yes.
Nice. Okay, cool. Thanks so much, Lynn. I really appreciate the time. We wrap up these podcasts usually with these two questions.
Oh, okay.
One, any recent discoveries that you've implemented to your day-to-day life?
Recent discoveries. I'm not a morning person, so I've been trying to. I find that doing a morning routine helps me to have a good day because I've really struggled with mornings. Yeah, I'm one of those people that when it becomes 10 p.m., I'm like, oh, I could start doing my best work now. But I try not to do that and wake up and do a morning routine, which is like dumb things like drink water. I wake up and drink a whole glass of water and sometimes I put lemon in it. Like it sounds really cliche, but actually I think I'm just dehydrated when I wake up and that makes me feel really bad. I put that water in inside my body and then I have a journal. I bought them from Muji. They like have nice 1 page per day journals at Muji and I always stock up on them and I do that first thing when I wake up and last thing before I go to bed, rather than like starting the day with my phone. That helps. And I do like writing my thoughts. And it's also really nice to look back. Like sometimes I look back what I wrote exactly the year before, and it's just really interesting. So I do that, try to move my body in some way, and then start the day.
What is it like being in the, how long have you been in the acting and dancing space and doing auditions and that whole process? Like, I hear it's like very, very tough.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I started performing after after I retired from gymnastics, I went straight into performing. So when was that? Like nearly 10 years. Acting has been more recent in the last few years with doing like more rigid acting classes and doing auditions that are not movement based at all. And yeah, it's tough, but I think I have the right foundation to deal with it. Like it's a lot of rejection. It's a lot of you have to fight for it. You have to be competitive. You have to work hard, but it's what I enjoy. So I'm happy to be doing it. And yeah, I will keep going.
Where do you think that foundation comes from? Because in gymnastics, do you have to deal with rejections? Because it feels gymnastic, it's more you put in the work, you get better, and I guess you get what you deserve. I guess acting is the same, but it's a bit of a, you really have to take a 20 steps back to see it play out?
I mean, with gymnastics, getting selected for teams would probably be the most similar thing. Or like, I don't know, if you want to get a certain result or podium place and you don't get it, that can feel like rejection. But also just every day in training, like if you have a bad training or your coaches will be constantly telling you, not negative things, but like they're constantly telling you this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. So I mean, some people can't accept criticism, right? Like some people struggle with that, but I think I can accept it pretty well. Like I'm always looking for people to tell me. I mean, I'm also very self-critical, so I have that from like, if I'm watching back a performance or a self-tape or an audition and I can tell myself like what I want to do better, but I'm also really eager to hear that from other people. I'm happy to have a second pair of eyes or lots of pairs of eyes to watch and give me feedback. Maybe some people struggle with that, but I find that that's a really necessary part of what I do.
Yeah, Lynn, I find that you definitely have like a unique sort of quirky personality. Like, do you feel like in a good way, in a complimenting way, do you feel like the acting or or like the performing space emphasized that or dulled it? Do you think you're more like you prior or after?
I think it emphasizes it because being an actor is all about being a human and being connected to like what it means to be alive. And I would say that in my previous job of being a gymnastics coach, I became very contained. I had to dull that down I didn't have to, but I did dull it down a lot for my coaching. And I kind of didn't want to feel emotions. I didn't want to put any emotions onto my athletes. So I've really enjoyed doing acting and trying to be more present, and because acting you have to react to everything, you have to be so in tune with emotions and other people around you and your environment. And I love that about it. I think even if you never get a single job from acting, just doing that practice, I think is good for everyone to do because it makes you more human. So, but I don't know if it's directly affecting my personality because I think I've always just been like a little bit, I know I'm like dry and sarcastic and a bit weird.
Being half Asian, is that an advantage? Does it make it harder for you to get gigs? I know like I've been seeing a lot of sort of half Asians, half white people in ads recently. I don't know if that's a plus for you, I guess. Yeah, how have you found it?
I mean, normally castings will have some kind of specification for what kind of ethnicity they're looking for. So, yeah, if they're looking for a half Asian, I'm always put forwards, I guess. But if they're not looking for a half Asian, then I can't get in there. So, I mean, also, yes, people are trying to be cast more diversely now than before. So that's good. Like, yeah, representation is important, and I do enjoy seeing more Asians on my screen recently, and like it's really nice to see the success of Asian actors right now. For example, like Shogun is sweeping the awards this year, which has been really great to see. I want to see more of it, but that's big steps being made, so that's good, and I'm happy to, yeah, I'm proud to be Asian, and I will always, you know, put that forwards on my CVs and on my castings and things like that.
Interesting. And a lot of these Asian movies, or like let's say we go through a period where there's a ton of Asian movies, will you be able to be put forward and have opportunities for that, being half Asian? Or, yeah,
Well, it depends. Like, yeah, we have agents that if a casting comes to them and we fit the brief and we can be put forwards, and then whether we are asked to audition for it is like the next step.
makes sense. That's so cool. Last question that we usually always wrap up these podcasts with is any personal goals for the next 6 months, not work related?
Oh, not work related. I'm so work focused right now. I'm like so determined. And I made a list of things which I've left in the UK, and I thought to myself because I had goals for this year. I like New Year and making goals and things for the year. And I really liked my ones this year. But I think I don't know if it's work related, but like I try every day to do something that I feel like my insides burning. with like a good burning, like with fire and passion. Like, for example, if I dance or if I'm like running on the beach, like I feel good, and I want to try and feel that every single day. It's a little bit work related, I suppose. But, or like if you watch a really good film and you feel that inside, I need to, I don't want to feel dead inside. I want to feel alive inside every single day. It's kind of work related though, I guess. I don't know if I want to think of another one. Also, I have quite a few weddings coming up of my friends, and I'm really excited, and I would like to have a really nice time there and enjoy hanging out with my friends because we all live all over the world, and the times when we get to all see each other is not very often. So it's a goal, a big goal of mine to have fun and be really present and enjoy those times when we get to see them this year.
A lot of your friends, did you just meet them in high school in the UK and they just ended up working abroad, or you met them on social media? Yeah, what led to such a diverse friend group worldwide?
They're mostly from uni. I met them in uni, and it was really nice because they're my first friends that I met as like a normal person that was not a athlete or a gymnast. And yeah, some of them were international students, so they've gone back home or they've moved elsewhere. And yeah, it was also really nice to, because I grew up in Bath and I didn't really have Asian friends growing up. And it was really nice to make a lot of Asian friends when I moved to London. And it was and I feel like I kind of realized so many things, but like quite late in life. Like I didn't have any Asian friends growing up, and I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that. And yeah, it was really nice to. It's not that they're any. It's not that they're that different and stuff, but they just get some things. They're not all Asian, but some of them are, and that's really nice. Yeah.
That makes total sense, yeah. When you say you're really determined at the moment, is that sort of like you want to try become the best actor you can through the acting lessons, try be the best dancer, improve your dancing through the dancing lessons, create better content?
Yeah, I mean, if I just sit at home, I'm not gonna achieve the things I want to achieve. So like I'm really pushing to achieve what I want. I love being in front of the camera. I love being on screen. I love being on set. It's really exciting feeling. I love to have projects that I feel like I've worked really hard on. I like to be part of things that a lot of people work really hard to put together, and after some time, that's why I'm always emotional, like watching movies and things. So you just think like how many people worked super hard on this for months or years for us to watch this movie, and then when it's all over, it's so emotional and like nostalgic and bittersweet. But yeah, I love being part of things like that. So that's I got to work hard to be able to do that.
What's the last movie that you watched that really gave you that fire inside?
No, I just went to see La La Land in concert, because it was in Tokyo, and I've actually already seen La La Land in concert in London. This is my second time seeing it in concert, and it's like my billionth time seeing the movie. It is my favorite movie. It's a little bit of a basic choice, but I just love the movie because of the actors, of the director, of the coloring, of the shots, of the story, of the soundtrack. I really love it, and also the theme of like, being a dreamer and chasing after your goals. It's yes, so that I mean we literally saw it. La La Land in concert is like where they play the whole soundtrack with the live orchestra. It's amazing. And it has the actual composer of the soundtrack there conducting. So very cool experience. So it would have to be that.
That's awesome. Hopefully they come to Australia now. Now I know if they do, I'm definitely gonna get a ticket based on your recommendation.
Yes, I think they do. They're touring worldwide. I don't know if they've already been there, but they're going to Singapore. So
Okay, I'm writing it down. I'm gonna look into their tour schedule. Thank you so much, Lynn. I guess where can people get more of you?
where can people get more of me? So the Japanstagram is where I post my Japan and random content. I'm also on TikTok, same at the Japanstagram. I'm starting to post more long form content on YouTube, same thing, the Japanstagram. And I'm also on Instagram as Lynne Karina Hutch. That's like my alter ego. That account is kind of like my CV. It is like a CV, but that's not gonna entice people to go and follow it. Go and follow it because when I do something like some work that I'm really proud of and I want to put it on there, I'll put it on there. So I'm not on there regularly, but you gotta be there so when the good stuff comes, you're gonna see it. So yeah, that is it, I would say.
I love that. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate you doing this. I appreciate your time. Thanks for pushing through despite your sort of your sore throat. You did amazing. I know you're not a morning person. I'm pretty sure Japan is a few hours behind.
Oh no no, I'm good. I'm good. I've already been to the gym today before this, and I'm yeah. I'm changed. Like I'm not a morning person, but you do have to start in the morning, otherwise the day just goes. So like yeah, I was up at 7 and I'm feeling great.
Perfect. Okay, then that makes me feel less bad. Thank you so much for doing this anyway, still. Yeah, I really appreciate your time. I love you sharing your whole story about sort of being half Japanese and the experiences of sort of living growing up in UK and then flying back, and just you experiencing Japan as like a foreigner. And you definitely have this sort of quirky personality to you. I don't know how to describe it, but it's definitely very, very you. Yeah, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. That was really fun and good to meet you virtually.
Guys, if you made it this far, hopefully it was a fun episode. It was definitely, I feel like there was a different energy this week, which I really liked. I think Lynn sort of switched it up a bit, so I'm very excited to see your thoughts on this episode. I'll see you guys next week on another episode. Peace.